I'm not on mute. Okay. Hi. My name is Tanita Maddox, as Kyle said, and I am on Young Life staff down in Scottsdale, Arizona. It was 70 degrees when I left today. And wow, 7,000 feet and 30 degrees colder. I am a lumberjack, class of 2001. Lumberjacks. And my husband, we've been married for 9 years. He's a filmmaker. He has a very exciting job. He specializes in international film, mostly in developing countries. He gets to travel all over the world for his job. We've been married for 9 years, and we're expecting our first child this summer. So that's a little bit about me. So it's not so much stranger danger to have me up on stage. I'm a Young Life leader. My job is to make sure that every teenager in Scottsdale has the opportunity to hear and follow Jesus Christ, which is just a little job. But because I get to be a Young Life leader, I get to go to camp like all the time with my high school kids. And I took a group of girls to a camp that used to exist up at Lake Tahoe called Mountain Lodge. It was a discipleship camp. It was for them the next step in their relationship with Christ and how to develop in that. And it's an adventure camp. So every day we have these big adventures of kayaking or mountain boarding or whatever. And this particular day we went mountain biking. And so our normal outreach camp trip, a mountain bike ride is like half an hour, and this was like a 2-hour bike ride. And so I have a little picture of a couple of the girls with me. This is me before the bike ride. So excited to go on the bike ride. These two girls in particular I coached in track and field. They're both distance runners and cross-country runners, and actually really very good distance runners. And so on this bike ride, in the middle of it, maybe about an hour and a half into it, I was about in the middle of the pack of this group at camp. And in my head, I saw these girls up front, these girls that I coached and spent all the time with, and I was like, I'm going to show those girls that I still have it. I'm gonna go ahead and ride in front of them for the rest of the time. And so I get my little pedal gears going, and I zoom past these chicas to the very front. So I'm in the front of the bike ride, and I'm like, haha, take that 17-year-olds. I still have it. I'm ruling at this bike ride. Now, they will tell the story and say, we saw Tanita roll past us full speed and thought, does she not know what's coming next? I did not know what was coming next. I was rolling past them full speed, and what happened right after that is we hit a downhill that was about a quarter-mile long, with at the end was a lake or a sharp turn left to keep on the path. When I started the downhill, I was full speed. There was I had run to full speed to pass these girls. Now I'm full speed at the top of a downhill, rocky path, and immediately went, oh, I'm not going to make it. This is just not going to happen. So I'm trying to play back everything. I'm not a mountain biker. I'm not a strong cyclist, I guess, just in general. And so I'm going back. Okay, they said, feather your brake. Don't touch your front brake. Only touch your back brake. Right? So I'm kind of pumping. Every time I hit it gently, my back tire skids, and I was like, oh. No, this is not going to happen. And it was only about 1 second after the thought, I was like, oh, I'm going to die on this. That I hit something. Here's what I think happened based on the logistics afterwards, the forensics. I think I hit some kind of rock. I think I clamped both of my brakes. Because what happened was, at one point, the bike was on one side of the path, and I was on the other. And I hit the ground, and my immediately thought, I thought was, oh shoot, did anyone see that? And I'm trying to go get my bike and get on it, nothing happened. They were walking down, I'm oh, cool, you guys did it. And what happens is, the next Young Life leader rolls up and he says, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine, I just need to get my bike. He goes, can you feel your knee? Yes, why? He goes, because you have a hole in it. I had about a $50 size hole in my knee. It was all shredded open. And then he said, how about your hand? Uh-oh. So look I'd taken all of the skin off of my hand. It was just all dirt. I had scratched up my face, and I popped the sunglasses lens out of my eye. So I have the next picture. This is us at the bottom of the hill. It's really dark. I'm actually covered covered with dirt all the way down. They took me to the urgent care in Truckee. So sorry about this, Mike. In Truckee, and they actually gave me lost and found clothes to wear because I was so dirty, but they didn't fit, so I had pants that were too small and a shirt that was too big. And crutches, but I couldn't use the crutches because I'd taken all the skin off one hand, so I kind of had one crutch. And they dropped me off because I was a leader, so I had to wait outside like that also, like one crutch and lost and found clothes waiting for someone to come get me. But you can go ahead and take this down. What was happening in this moment when I was riding this bike, when I was so determined to pass these girls, it really was having in my head is I'm saying, there's no one more important than me. I am the best. I want you to know that I am the best, and I'm willing to do anything to preserve my status as the best. Which really, if you want to dig, you can say, I'm trying to preserve my ego, I'm trying to preserve my pride, and here I am, a young life leader whose job is to share Christ and disciple kids, spending a lot of my energy and actually sacrificing my body to school them and let them know, I am better than you. That's what was happening. So really what's happening is that God used this to basically show me there's another place in my life. There was another place in my life that I had not given up to him. There was another place in my life that I was preserving, that I wanted for me, and that I was unwilling to relent and submit to him. The thing is I think when we give our lives to Christ, when we become Christ followers, I really do believe that we wholeheartedly give everything we have to him. But I think it's only everything that we know we have that we're giving to him, and then he spends that time afterwards revealing all the parts that we didn't really know we didn't give to him. Sometimes we didn't know they existed. Sometimes we tried to bury them a little bit so we didn't have to see them. But over time, we serve such a good God, he slowly pulls these parts out and says, you didn't give this to me. You didn't give this to me. And let's go ahead and work through that. Now, I realized that New Year's resolutions in January sometimes can become a little litmus test of those areas, the areas where we're not doing so hot in, the areas we want to be better at, the areas we would like to maybe control a little bit more, those areas that aren't the prettiest parts of our life. And so here is the question that I want you to think about today as we talk. And it's this: what piece of your life, what area of your life, what part of your life are you holding on to that you don't want to let go? What part of your life are you preserving for you? A few days ago, January 6th is traditionally known as the Day of Epiphany, or it's the Day of the Three Kings. The 12 days of Christmas, here's your fun Christmas fact for post-Christmas. The 12 days of Christmas do not talk about leading up to Christmas. They talk about the 12 days after Christmas, the 12 days between Jesus' birth and the day that the Magi, the Three Kings, arrive. These are the 12 days here, and that was the 6th of January, so there's some churches that celebrated, hey, the day that the Magi arrived, the day of the King's Day. So I'm going to go ahead and use that excuse to talk about the Magi in January, even though it's not Christmas time. So here's what happened. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea, during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem and asked, "Where's the one who's been born King of the Jews? We saw his star in the east and have come to worship him." When King Herod heard this, he was disturbed. Now, I can't imagine being a king and people coming up to you and saying, "No, where's the king? No, I want to see the real king." Where I served as an area director in Young Life, the previous man was there for 20 years. And so I often introduce myself and I say, "Oh, do you work for Rick?" And that little piece of me is like, "No, I'm the area director. Rick is no longer here. You're not speaking of him." So I can't imagine you're sitting there and someone's like, no, we wanted to see the real king of the Jews. I'm the king. And it says that Herod was disturbed, and I looked it up. So the Greek word, which by the way, if you ever want to do this, Blue Letter Bible, Google it. You can sound really smart, look up Hebrew and Greek meanings of words and things like that. So here we have. The Greek word is tarasso, which means He was agitated, he was troubled, he was distressed, he was anxious, he was all stirred up. Seems pretty like, okay, you're right. If you're a king and someone's saying, no, we want to see the real king. Who's the real king of all these people? That this is his reaction. And actually, it says, and all Jerusalem with him reacted the same way. And so when he had called together all the people's chief priests and teachers of the law, and he asked them where the Christ was to be born. In Bethlehem in Judea, they replied, for this is what's written, but you, Bethlehem in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah. For out of you will come a ruler who will be the shepherd of my people Israel. Then Herod, scheming, called the Magi secretly and found out from them the exact time the star had appeared, and he sent them to Bethlehem and said, oh, go and make a careful search for the child, and as soon as you find him, report it to me so that I too may go and worship him. As we know, they found the Christ child, they worshipped, and the Bible says, having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to the country by another route. And when Herod realized that he'd been outwitted by the Magi, he was furious. And he gave orders to kill all the boys in Bethlehem and its vicinity who were 2 years old and under, in accordance with the time he had learned from the Magi. Now, Herod he's a bad dude. I don't want to not sugarcoat that. He's a really, really bad guy. But this is the first year I've ever read that story, and I went, oh, wait, that's me. I'm Herod. See, he reacted stressed, disturbed, anxious, because someone was threatening the thing that was closest to him. His power, his status, his reputation, his kinghood. Someone came in and they started to poke at that and threaten it. 3 guys showed up and said they were there to worship the real king. I'm sure he's like, wait, you mean I'm not the king? Which is my reaction sometimes in my life. Wait, I'm not the king? I'm not the most important thing? I'm not the center of the universe? And it makes sense, by the way, when you think of this, that shepherds would go. Shepherds, the lowest of the low, would go where angels showed up and said, go worship this baby. Baby, absolutely. Heck yes. It makes less sense that a king would. A king has something to lose. A king answers only to himself. A king does not humble himself to what he does not understand. A baby king, a Christ child? No way. And that's when I start to go, oh my gosh, that's me. Wait, I have something to lose. I answer only to me. I am the center of my life. I want to be in control. Because let's face it, if you spent any time following Jesus, we understand that letting go is hard. It's often painful. It's distressing. It's all those things. Distressing, troubled, anxiety feeling. It stirs us up. And part of it is because we do not know what will happen on the other side. Sometimes we hold on and say, just tell me what happens in the end, and then I'll give it to you. If I decide that end is what I would like, then yes, you can have it. And we know that's not how Jesus works. He just says, no. You give, and then you let go of it, and it belongs to him. But I self-preserve. That place, those parts that are precious to me, I self-preserve and say, I want to be in charge of this. A little bit of one way I've seen this creep up in my life lately is when I've stopped relying on God's grace for us. And I decide that I'm going to fix my relationship with Christ, relying on my good habits and disciplines, spiritual disciplines. I want you to not hear me and say that disciplines are bad. Disciplines are critical to our relationship with Christ. But what I'm saying is that when I'm trying to rely on them to fix my relationship, that I will be better, thus my relationship with Jesus will be better. We joke about this in our campaign. We talk about being a gold digger, saying you're only going there because you want to get something out of it. You're only doing this because you're either avoiding punishment or you want reward. And that's the only kind of initiative to get there, is those two things. It's not a responsive love. It's I want to be better. I don't want to be punished by God. Thus, I will engage in this. And all the good and godly things that were supposed to be good and godly all of a sudden just become about me. And I say things like, well, I want to be a better Christ follower. I want to be a better prayer. I want to be better at quiet times. I want to be a better young life leader. And I'm sure that there are tons of lists of I's in here. I want to be a better mother. I want to be a better husband. I want to be a better manager at money. I want to be healthier. And all it comes I. And in the end, saying I want this, I need this, I will be better at this. The only person it puts pressure on in the end is me. And by the way, personally, when I say I want to be better, I don't mean I want to be better. I mean I want to be perfect. I want to be the perfect Christ follower. I want to be the perfect prayer. I want to be the perfect young life leader. I want to be the perfect wife. That is a lot of pressure to live under. And that's a lot of pressure that's just on me. And here's the kicker. Will we fail at those things? Absolutely. Because when the focus is on me and failure happens, what follows is then guilt, discouragement, embarrassment, shame. What followed for Herod was lashing out like crazy, hurting everyone he could around him just to preserve the thing that was most important. Don't touch this because this is what I want to keep. And for us, and as Christ followers, it happens in those little dark places of discouragement and shame. Now, you might not be like me and struggle with perfection or struggle with performance, but I guarantee that there's a part of your life, that little part or that area that's nagging at you. And it's nagging at you with embarrassment or guilt or discouragement or wanting to be better or shame. And it's so easy to respond with, I'll just be better next time. I'll wake up tomorrow and I'll be better. I will just be better. And every time we fall down, every time we fail, it gets harder and harder to pick ourselves up. It is no wonder why when we first give our lives to Christ, it's a miracle that we stick around because it's just so full of mess-ups and mistakes and failures, and I didn't understand this, and I want to be so much better than I actually am. And that's what starts to fill us. I have a quote from Fenelon. He is a 17th century French theologian. Ooh, so exciting. But we've got about 3 slides that we're going to read and just follow along on these slides as I read. You are too self-conscious. You also let your feelings guide you too much. As soon as your prayer stops bringing you comfort, you become discouraged. You will find yourself spending all your time worrying about your troubles. Soon, all this worry will crowd over the sense of God's presence in your life, and then you'll really be depressed. Your old nature wants to be perfect. It will push you in every way to be an outstanding Christian. Please avoid this trap. Simply follow the Lord. Here is the good news. There is only one who's done it perfectly. There is only one who's done it perfectly, and that's Jesus Christ. And then we don't have to pick ourselves up anymore because he is the one that picks us up. It's in his death and resurrection that we find life and restoration and freedom. It's not about me being better. It's about relying on a Savior who's perfect. And then my actions are a response to his grace. Not a responsibility, not a chore, not an obligation, not a toolkit so I can just get a little bit closer. It's just a response to his grace. What part, what area of your life do you need to let go of? What part needs to be given as a gift in response to his love for us? Because when we give our lives to Christ, that I tape sometimes continues to play in our head. It does for me. But the truth is, and I'll state this one more time, the truth is, the Holy Spirit has already changed you. Already. There is no I need to become better. The Holy Spirit has already changed you. 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, you are a new creation. Galatians 2:20 says, you were crucified with Christ. 1 John 4:4 says, he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. Our true freedom comes when we are kings who bow down before the Christ child. and respond with this. Lord, I need you. Oh, I need you. Every hour I need you. My one defense, my righteousness. Oh God, how I need you. This is how we bow down. This is how we worship the Christ King. Our gift is our very failure. Our gift is our very need for him. Not here's how good I am and here's what I've been doing and I've been really trying hard to pray and really trying to love people. It's my failure. It's relying on his grace to say, I want to and I can't. I will fail, so I need you. So as we move on and prepare for communion, I'm going to ask it one more time. What area are you holding on to in your life that you need to let go of? What are you being a Herod about? What are you trying to preserve? What brings you anxiety and distress at the thought of letting Jesus touch that area of that life? And are you willing to let that thing down at the table? Make that your offering to Jesus today. So as we move to communion, as we approach the table, leave what you're carrying behind. This is the time we come to remember and reflect on that it is God's grace on us through his death and resurrection of his son, Jesus Christ. That is what we live under and live with and live on and live through. So here's how I'm going to close today. While Kyle and his band comes up and they prepare us for communion, I'm going to close this not in prayer, but a little bit of meditation. So I would love you to close your eyes and bow your heads as if you're coming to prayer. And instead, I would love you to quiet your hearts and hear these words that Jesus says to you. Are you tired? Worn out? Burnt out on religion? Come to me. Get away with me and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you will learn to live freely and lightly. Amen.
During this next song, we're going to go into a time of communion.